Hey folks, I'm Yannick Gwizdala, and we are looking at some analysis today. We're going back into my live archive, my archive of videos and audio of live shows I've played in the past, and we're gonna look at the question that doesn't get asked that often, doesn't get talked about, and something I hope I can help you with if this is something you have come across, you've had to deal with in the past, and that is what happens when the audience sucks. And okay, maybe sucks is a little too strong of a word. Maybe we need to be looking at this, as I'm sure we will as we get into it, looking at it in terms of what happens when the audience perhaps don't meet your expectations. Maybe we need to talk to ourselves, our inner self, and say we shouldn't have so many expectations of the audience. But what happens when it's so far out of whack that you're playing a certain type of music in a venue? Could be a terrible venue, could be an awesome venue, but either way, you're playing this music and the audience isn't necessarily the right audience for that music, or you aren't the right music for that audience. That's what we're going to be looking at today. That's the thing that popped into my head as I was scrolling through my archives, looking for another concert to recap. And I remember distinctly with this show in Monaco in 2022, I was out with my trio, with Tom Corley, with Nico Vicaro. These guys right here, where are they? They are there. And first of all, the venue is beautiful. Like there's no two ways about it. I'll give you a quick look from the other perspectives. Like that's Nico's perspective right there, drummer's perspective, and what you see out there is the Mediterranean. We're in Monaco. We're right on the beach. Everyone on the other side of that little white wall is on the sand, tables and chairs, enjoying dinner. You see boats in the background. We're right on the boardwalk in Monaco. It almost couldn't be more idyllic. Venue's beautiful, backline was perfect, the sound was really good. So I hear you already asking, like, hey, so what's so bad about this whole situation? Well, had we been playing a bunch of covers and a bunch of top 40 tunes, I'm sure we would have had that room kind of ripping and people like paying attention and just being generally into the music and entertained. Like the bottom line at the end of the day, I think they would have been entertained. And this is the thing I have struggled the most with, especially as a band leader over the years, and that is, how do you continue to do what you do no matter what? Like, I'm on a tour playing my own music, presenting my own band, and I'm there to play that music. I'm not there to scan the audience, read the room, so to speak, and be like, oh, actually these people want to hear U2 and Bon Jovi covers, so let's just completely disregard everything we're out here to do and do that. And I'm not even one of those people to kind of compromise halfway and start playing some covers and some original music. It's like, if I'm booked to play in a venue to play my music, I'm going to do that. I was about to say, no matter how uncomfortable it is, and boy, this night was it uncomfortable. Again, I don't mean to take away from any other aspect of the situation, because the people at the venue, the owner, the staff, the food, the surroundings, beautiful, absolutely top notch, couldn't have been better. But our circumstances in terms of the music were quite strange. I'm going to start playing this here and show you what I mean in terms of the headspace we were in terms of the music we were trying to play. You know, my album One Way Out had recently come out. This was the tour right after that. As you can see from the pedal board, I'm using the Mood. I've got delays and granular stuff. I've got the snare trap. It's a lot of improvised music. Quite unapologetic in that sense. And we're playing kind of free a lot of the time. Now, you get a little taste for where we're heading with today's video with this music. We're going to dive into all this and take it apart, and I'm going to let you know kind of what was going on in my head, how we come together as a unit to play this style of music. But I want to switch back to that other camera view, specifically this one. This one's my camera. We were watching Tom's camera before, and that one from the drummers, that's Nico's camera. It's pretty cool to have three people in the band that are as into filming each of the shows and into sharing the footage, so we all get to enjoy it after the fact. But it's this shot that, and this this girl. Actually, I think these two people in the front row were actually kind of into it. But just that freeze frame sort of sums up a lot of the feeling I was getting from a lot of people in the room. This whole table of people down the back on the left, they showed up. They had no idea there was a concert happening. They showed up, barely looked at the stage a single time during the 90 minutes we played, and talked really loudly and just had their dinner like nothing else was going on in the venue. I think that's something you got to take into consideration. There weren't tickets being sold for this venue. People were just showing up. They're in this, like we said, this paradise area. They're walking by like, whoa, nice looking restaurant. Oh, they have some live music, whatever. We don't really care, but we'll sit down and have this dinner with this beautiful view, etc., etc. So those are some of the things that kind of go into consideration. And in terms of the analysis, in terms of what I want to talk about my emotions during this show, about how bad I felt internally about how the music was going and how tough it was to play under these circumstances, and how, for the most part, I felt pressured into playing tunes. Now, quick plug here. It's not out yet, but it will be out in the not too distant future. The very first night of this tour was at the Pizza Express in London, and I just came across the audio from that. We actually have a nice stereo mix from the room and some multi-track tracks, and I'm going to mix it and put it out as a record. I thought the playing was exceptional on it. When the album comes out, I'll do another one of these videos. We'll break it down, and it really highlights how free we were in London at that show, and how we just went anywhere. And yeah, we played a couple of tunes, maybe one new one from the album, an old one from Theatre by the Sea, like a decade before. But it was super loose. We were super free. Nobody was feeling any judgment or alienation from the audience. The audience paid to get in. They knew who we were. They were there to see the show. And as a band, we connected with them in a big way. And the audience, is a massive part, can be a massive part, often is a massive part of the success of the show. And on that night, it turned it into a performance that I feel there's no way I can't release that as an album. So that should give you an idea of where we're coming from. I believe Monaco was maybe 3 nights into the tour, so we've had a couple of good shows. One amazing show to kick off, an okay show up in Manchester. More low turnout was probably the only negative thing on that, but musically it was fantastic. Audience was great. And then we get to Monaco, where the place, as you can see, is kind of is not empty. There are people in the room. All the tables are full, and when you look over outside, all of those tables are full. I should also say that because Nico had just been playing in John McLaughlin's band on tour, John is sitting out there somewhere, just somewhere off, like just the other side of that white wall. I think John and his family are either in this table or this table. Oh no, there he is. I think that's John, where you can see with his like long gray hair right there. So that's John McLaughlin sitting right there in the audience. Not exactly a nerve easer, shall we say. And I'd never met him before. Of course, I haven't met him since, never played with him, but I'm a huge fan. So there was that factor as well. It's like so many psychological elements are going into how do we pull this off musically as a band? How do we not like force everyone to leave that's in the room because they're really not there to see the music? And then I'm thinking, crap, John McLaughlin's sitting in the audience, and this might be the only time he hears me play, and I would like to make a good impression. Now, these are all things in hindsight that I should never have considered. I had no control over any of them, basically, and I only had control over what it was I could do as a musician and how I could perform in that moment. So I would say about 80% of the show, from an emotional standpoint, from a feeling perspective, was kind of garbage, what I played. But there were some moments, we're going to get into one of them, I think, that came out pretty well. And I remember being able to shut all of those things out long enough to communicate with Tom and Nico and get into something. Also, probably a good thing to point out here is that I think a main part of the reason for why I feel this portion of the show was successful is because I'm not doing anything. I've finally sort of like taken myself out of the equation. I'm giving as much space as possible. I'm letting Nico and Tom take the lead with tempo and with harmony and with rhythm and melody, all of that stuff. I'm literally not playing anything. I've just got the little granular loop going in the mood pedal that I set up, and I've just let them go. And I think it was the first time in the show, we're probably 10, 15 minutes in, that I felt like I could really breathe and sit back, take a good listen to what was going on, and then try and contribute something to the situation. Let's see what that was. Ooh. Okay, so I went with Tom with that rhythm. Was it that? Was it? Bump, 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 get the bump, bump, the bump, bump. So I went with him with that, and then we went kind of in counterpoint. Let's go back and listen to that. So there was a moment where he moved and I stayed, and then we both sort of split away from the idea, and it turned into something kind of different and definitely more counterpoint there. And you notice how Nico is like really, really solid right up the middle. Like his hi-hat and his snare is really maintaining this sort of rhythmic compass point. Like he's directing us sailing the ship in the right direction, and he's improvising with the kick drum, following Tom a little bit. I love that as the foundation for like the setup for where we might go. I have actually no idea where we went here, but let's find out what happened. And what I don't like that I'm doing there is Tom is leaving space, and then he's playing a phrase, and I keep playing at the same time as him. And I kind of, in hindsight, I think that would have been more musical for when he left space for me to make some sort of statement and then kind of let him answer it, or vice versa. Like treat it as a question and answer rather than it feels like we're talking over each other just a little bit. And I take full responsibility for that. That's me, because he's already established that he's sort of leading the direction of the improvisation and of the conversation there. And I'm a little bit late to the party almost. I've kind of joined the conversation when it was already in full flow, and I don't quite understand what's going on yet. So let's see if I can recover from that. Okay. Thankfully, it didn't take that long, and exactly what I just described is now what's happening, even just 1 or 2 bars later. So, okay, I'm not a total knucklehead in this situation. So he's come back with that motif from before, and I'm playing a little more consistently, a little more dense, so I'm not leaving so much space, but playing more of a bass line, continuous bass line. He's come back to that motif from before and is now developing it again. And as I said before, Nico is now opening up a little bit. He's opening up the sort of the rhythmic spectrum rather than just keeping that hi-hat and snare super consistent. So now Tom's reorchestrating that bum 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 down on the Rhodes, playing chords. So that 2-note, that 2-beat rhythm has now gone through 3 or 4 different iterations, and still has, I imagine, a long way to go. Now, you see, something as drastic has changed here, but nobody's panicking, right? We're obviously going somewhere else. Like, the idea is over. Tom has had enough of that idea, so he kind of fades out, as it were. Nico gets into a different kind of different timbre with the ride cymbal. I'm kind of, warbling away in the middle still, kind of, okay. I'm aware that something new is coming, something new is happening. We've made a change. Where are we going? It's all ears open at this point. Okay. In fact, I just think I went wow, and Tom, and we're into Give Me That Stern Look, and guys know the material, so it's pretty instant. You give one cue, one melodic cue, Nico changes the tempo just slightly to fit kind of the direction we might go in with that tune, and boom, we make this hard left, and we go from this improvisation into one of the into some of the material, into a composition that we had intended to play on the show at some point. And something I love about Nico, about any great drummer, is they're not afraid. And that's something that happened on that recording on One Way Out. There are many instances of tempo changes, of timbre changes, just massive changes that were unplanned, completely improvised. I think that's something Nico does exceptionally well. That's something I felt in this particular lineup of the trio worked super well. You'll hear it with Krantz, Carlock, Lefebvre. They have certain cues and certain, certain worked out metric modulation things. Of course, the band with Cliff in it, with Lefebvre as well, and Anthony Jackson, and all those iterations of Wayne Krantz's trio. You'll hear that really drastic tempo changes. Like I said, some of those are worked out. In this situation with my trio, these are completely unscripted, and we don't even say, if that tune comes up, it really needs to be at this tempo. And I'll do breakdowns in the future where I get versions of different versions of the same song, and you can hear we play it in so many different ways. In fact, on the album from the first night of the tour that I want to release of this song, there's this song, Give Me That Stern Look, is on there. It starts in one place and ends somewhere so vastly different you almost don't recognize that it's the same song. So I really appreciate the confidence and the open-mindedness with which the three of us were able to play together and not be fazed by anything that happened, good or bad. At the end of the day, I'm breaking this down and talking about the audience was super weak. They were not feeding energy into it. We really had to create that for ourselves. We had to come within the trio to find these kinds of places that we're getting to that you hear right now. That's one layer of it. And I've completely lost my train of thought, but let's get back to the music. Holy shit. Totally lost my train of thought, and apparently I've lost the music as well. I think Tom was he leaning down looking for the music? Oh, we got to rewind that and just take it. Yeah, I think that's what he was doing. He's like, I think right around here he realized, oh shit, do I remember this one? We haven't played this tune a lot together at all. And we certainly didn't rehearse for this tour. So he's like, I think around this point, he's like, crap, do I actually remember the tune? Yep, let me look around for the music. Yeah, he didn't really remember it. Okay. He got it. There you go. That's it. He is determined to find the music, though. Leaving me and Nico to it. Now he's reading off the floor. And I wonder if we go to the bridge. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Not a big deal. Maybe I'll put my... Oh, we do. Now where do we go? And you can hear people in the background. Like, it's not a quiet venue at all. Like, all of those people over there. In fact, I should speed down here because it's actually getting, look at that. Look how dark it gets pretty quick. We start in the early evening and we're playing in the dark by the end. I wonder what's on here. So many tunes. Let's play from Nico's perspective. Okay. See, this is what we have to talk. There's so many things. Like, these videos are going to end up being so freaking long. I hope you're here for this. I hope you're ready for how deep we go into this stuff. This is what I love about drummers like Nico. There are, and it's going to be hard not to Jones on some people. I'll try not to mention people by name because that's really not that classy. And there's no, it shouldn't be a negative thing, this process. And you'll make your own mind up. You'll go out and you'll listen to these to people, and you'll say, oh, well, now maybe I understand what's going on there, and I see the difference in dynamics. And that's what I want to talk about with Nico in that particular situation. Like, did you hear that fill? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Look, listen to where he is right now. Listen, like, barely touching the snare drum, the kick, the hi-hat. Super relaxed, the head's going, big smile. We're in the pocket, we're completely together. Oh, and you're not seeing that. Sorry. Got to get used to this whole setup. And look. And out of nowhere, you get this blazing, burst of energy, and then straight back to this incredible pocket at a very low volume. Yeah, and what I wanted to talk about was there are so many people who do what you heard, the fill. They do that thing. They can play fast. It's relentless. They do it all the time, and they do it for no reason. There's no intent behind it. And there are plenty of people. YouTube is full of them. Social media is full of them because that's what gets views. That's what gets that's what gets attention. And I guess the biggest currency in that world is attention. And what better way to get attention than by doing something over and over and over and over and over again that most people in the world can't do. The impressive nature of being able to play insanely fast around the drums. But when you kind of dig down into it, like you dig down into the intent behind what they're doing and find out there simply isn't any, or perhaps the intent is just they're thinking ahead, like, oh, I need to play some crazy shit on this gig because I know I'm going to need a 30-second clip for TikTok later. And when you drill down into it and that's the intent, it's pretty sad state of affairs. And that is something I hear more and more and more. I hear that and see that being lauded as something to aspire to. I see people talking about that as an achievement. And anytime I can highlight someone like Nico, like Cliff Armand, like a Brian Blade, like a Steve Jordan. Well, Steve Jordan is a little different because he doesn't have those ridiculous chops. He does have that dynamic range though. But the people who have the insane facility and choose not to use it almost their entire lives are the people that I want to be around. They're the people that I want to listen to. They're the people that move me the most. So all of that to say, there's a reason Nico is in my band here. There's a reason I called him for the album. There's a reason, Cliff Armand is in my band now, why I called him for a record date. There are always some pretty, there's always a bigger picture and a deeper meaning to why I want to be around another musician, why I call them to play music. And hopefully through the channel, hopefully doing stuff like this and highlighting the exact details, hopefully we can sort of shed a light on that. And let's listen to a little bit more. Unfortunately, this is my bass solo now, but let's listen to how Nico comps. And by bass solo, I mean fucked up harmonizer sound. And you sort of get a little look in the window, the perspective of, I know it's a camera audio is not one's ears, but the camera is behind Nico. It's kind of giving you an idea of what he's hearing. And right now it's pretty fucking clear that he's hearing everything I'm doing. He's not overplaying, yet he's able to play with intensity and even play some quite dense ideas here and there, but at a low volume. And be a part of the conversation rather than dominating it, and play a supporting role when need be, and offer me inspiration rhythmically and musically in general throughout the course of the performance. But check it out. Over here, center of the room, on her phone. Over here, eating dinner like nothing is going on. Like I doubt any of these people on the beach are even paying attention to what's going on. And this is a music venue, advertised hosting an international touring act. And that's the connection or lack thereof, the disconnect, shall we say, with the audience, and why this audience kind of sucked. I know that sounds harsh, but from the perspective of what we intended to do on stage, it made it really, really challenging. And we got there in the end. We had fun, and there were definitely moments like just listening back to the way we're playing as an ensemble is very gratifying to know that we were able to get to a certain spot, which I consider not only acceptable, but operating at a very high level, at the level I know we're all capable of operating at and communicating. Again, great example of communication, playing off each other. I play a phrase, Nico orchestrates it on the toms. We get into it, we repeat that. When somebody, for me, when I'm playing, when somebody, especially a drummer, like we're witnessing here, picks up on that, it allows me and helps me, gives me the confidence to develop that idea further, and feels like somebody's carrying the load, and the load is lighter, and therefore it's easier to move forward and be creative. Michael Brecker, old Michael Brecker lick that I love to play. It will be interesting to do some more of these videos closer to the concert having just happened, because I would love to know if at that moment what was going through my mind. And there's no way I can remember. It's almost exactly 2 years ago. And I'd love to know if it got to the point and I even considered Michael Brecker, or I was like, oh, we're on a D minor chord and there's the C sharp. And if I start this lick on that C sharp, I can get all the way down to the 5 and turn it into an altered thing and resolve, like, because those are some of the things I've practiced in at home in my studio, working on ways to create tension and release it. I'd love to know what I was thinking there. Hopefully none of that was conscious. And, you know, what happened was it just came out as a natural extension of my playing, because that's always the goal. So yeah, doing some more of these videos closer to when the concert has happened will give me a much better insight into how to convey that to you and let you know exactly what was going on in my head at the time. Let's play a little more. Okay, two things. The first is I'm sitting here and I'm head bobbing and I'm into it. This is it's going to be a recurring theme of these videos. It's not an ego trip. I truly like the way this music sounds. I wouldn't have played it if I didn't. I love the way these musicians play with me or otherwise. So I'm into the music. I love the music. Just happens to be mine right now. And we'll get to some things that are not mine. Definitely want to break down a few things that maybe I've been to see and experienced from the audience perspective. Secondly, talking about being able to experience it and maybe listen to these entire concerts. There is a thing on my website. It's called the Live Archive. It's a course, technically, just because that was the way I had to structure it within the website. Basically what it is, it's a one-time fee. You get lifetime access to this course, for want of a better word, and it's literally the Live Archive. It's where I put all of these videos. Not every single one of them, because there are thousands, but I do update it every couple of weeks with new shows. And what I'm going to start doing is adding to the already enormous list of shows that are in there. I'm going to add each show that I break down in this series. I'm going to add it to the Live Archive. So no matter when you purchase that, if you choose to, you'll be able to go back and watch and listen to all of these concerts that I'm breaking down, plus all the ones that are in there already, plus all the ones that I just put in there because I put them in there. It's at yannickgwizdala.com. It's linked in the description of the video below. You can go check it out. It's called the Live Archive. Yeah, this got into a long one, and I feel like we barely scraped the surface. There's so much more we could have got to just in this tune alone, never mind the whole concert. So this gives me great hope, great optimism for the future of these videos. I love doing them. We're only in the second one of the series, and already my mind's working overtime in terms of what I can share with you. And it's good for me, as I would encourage you to do as well. It's really good to go back and listen to this stuff. I'm going to say it probably in every video. I am well aware that it sucks to listen to yourself play, but there's almost no way around it if you want to get better. The videotape doesn't lie. It tells you exactly what happened. We have this thing, I heard this from Tiger Woods, the difference between real and feel. When you hit the ball, where does it feel like it's going? Does it feel like it's going dead straight? And the reality might be that it's fading a little or it's drawing a little. It's the same with this. You have this memory of what happened on the show. You're like, man, I was so burning tonight. And then you go listen to the video, and there were so many boo-boos that you just want to like delete the file immediately. So if you can bring yourself to do it, baby steps at first. You know, you don't have to have a video camera like I'm using here. Just use the cell phone, use the voice recorder. Any way you can record yourself, be it live when you're out there playing gigs, or whether it's when you're home practicing. It all helps the process. It makes you a better player if you can listen to it, analyze it, be critical. And throughout this series of videos, I hope I will give you some tools to help you analyze it. Look at the kind of things I take out of what I see in my performances and how I use them to improve. I'm going to go listen to this a little more. I'm going to put it on in the background while I finish unpacking in the new studio. And yeah, until the next time, I'm Yannick Gwizdala. Check out everything yannickgwizdala.com related. It's linked below in the description of the video, and I'll see you next time.